cviper's most important movement option comes at a huge cost in Street Fighter 6, but she still might end up being an absolute menace on the tier list. Saludos mi gente, my name is Dream King, and today we are talking about cviper in Street Fighter 6. Capcom has finally unveiled her gameplay trailer at Tokyo Game Show this week, and there's just so much to talk about. Before we get into the specifics of cviper though, let's talk about some of the general Street Fighter 6 news that Capcom also unveiled at the event. The biggest headline is obviously cviper's official release date. Capcom has announced that the next DLC character in Street Fighter 6 Season 3 will become officially available on October 15th. Much like Sagat before her, cviper will be a part of the Season 3 character pass, but you could also buy her as a standalone purchase. And speaking of that paid DLC, Capcom also announced that another Outfit 4 costume is on the way with the cviper update. This time around, Zangief is getting his Outfit 4, which transforms him into the classic Mecha Zangief. And if you're wondering, yes, you heard me right, the next update is only going to include one new Outfit 4 costume, which is, certainly a choice. This also happens to be the first Outfit 4 costume that we are seeing launched after the initial 7 that dropped last month with Sagat's release, and we can now confirm that it is not swimsuit themed. So it looks like Outfit 4 is going to have a mix mash of different themes because the initial 7 were all swimsuit themed, and now we're getting Mecha Zangief, which I don't think is necessarily meant for beach going. But yeah, it seems like they're going to just be kind of a mishmash of just different things whenever they release. So again, that's certainly a choice, but hey, new costumes, that's pretty cool. And apparently today I'm not only the king of dreams, but I'm also the king of segues, because speaking of costumes, we also get to see cviper's classic costume revealed in her gameplay trailer, and obviously it pulls from her Street Fighter 4 design, which was her debut. It looks incredible. Capcom did an amazing job with her new design and her classic design. This character looks fantastic. Let's talk about what cviper can do in Street Fighter 6. To really set the stage for this video, I'm just going to come out and say that everything you know cviper to have, she has it here in Street Fighter 6. Her toolkit includes her ground pound, which is commonly known as her seismo. She's got her thunder knuckle, complete with cancels and feints. Burn kick is back, complete with its crazy cross-up pressure. She can super jump in this game as well as perform super jump cancels. She even has a move that resembles focus attack from Street Fighter 4. And she has an install super, which has some very interesting properties that we'll discuss a little bit later. Now, at the time that I'm recording this, Tokyo Game Show is still going on, and cviper is actually playable at the Capcom booth at the event. And while there's no photos or videos allowed from attendees there have been some reports from some prominent FGC heads on Twitter that have been telling us what else she can do. And I'm sure after hearing this, everybody watching is going to let out a collective groan. But apparently cviper has throw loops in Street Fighter 6. Yep, she's got throw loops. My buddy Vicious reported it on Twitter, and I also saw pro player GamerB say the exact same. So there's a pretty high chance that is confirmed and official. She's got throw loops, y'all. As far as have-nots, there's not that many actually. From what we can tell, crouching medium kick isn't special cancelable or drive rush cancelable. But that doesn't necessarily mean she can't special cancel it, which we will also get into later, and she doesn't seem to have an invincible reversal that isn't a super. Thunder Knuckle is back, but this time it's called Thunder Dash in Street Fighter 6. This is basically her standard dash punch type of special move, but it does change depending on which strength of button you hit. The light version goes low, and we actually saw in the trailer that it has the ability to pass under fireballs. The medium version just hits as a horizontal grounded attack, and the heavy punch version, like it did in Street Fighter 4, goes up at an angle and works well as an anti-air. Naturally, there is an OD version of Thunder Dash in Street Fighter 6, but unlike Street Fighter 4, this move doesn't actually put the opponent into a crumple state anymore, but according to Capcom, it does travel farther than the medium and light versions of the attack. And it's also safer on block. Now we're hitting the ground running here in terms of cviper's new abilities because Thunder Dash actually has a follow-up that is attached to it now, and this follow-up is called Tracer Combination. So Tracer Combination is basically a follow-up attack after Thunder Knuckle that causes a knockdown. It does change depending on which strength of Thunder Knuckle you used, but the differences aren't too large from what I've seen. Essentially, it just changes the knockdown a little bit depending on which version you used. If you use Tracer Combination after the medium punch Thunder Knuckle, it knocks the opponent down right in front of cviper and gives her some really good Oki situations. Tracer Combination after heavy punch Thunder Knuckle hits them while they're still in the air and like spikes the opponent down, and it causes like a small ground bounce. It doesn't seem like she can combo after it, but she can move pretty quickly after, so probably gives her some other Oki situations and different meaty setups and things like that. And if you do Tracer Combination after light punch Thunder Knuckle, it sends the opponent flying back for a knockdown. Tracer Combination actually utilizes a new mechanic that is baked into Viper's toolkit in Street Fighter 6. Whenever one of these follow-ups is used, it will consume 1 bar of drive gauge. So you're getting a better knockdown situation and more damage at the expense of 1 bar. This drive meter cost will reappear in another one of her maneuvers that we'll be discussing shortly. Whenever she does one of these Tracer Combination follow-ups, you'll be able to identify it not only by the animation, but also by looking closely at Viper as she quickly flashes red during it. cviper can still feint cancel her Thunder Knuckle here in Street Fighter 6 too, and this technique can be used in many of the same ways that we saw it used in Street Fighter 4. We have already seen several combos where she hits a heavy punch, cancels into Thunder Knuckle, feints the knuckle, and recovers in time to hit crouching heavy punch to further the sequence. But in addition to this, we'll likely see it in neutral or during wake-up scenarios to fake out the opponent. Burning Kick, or Burn Kick, also makes its return, and like in Street Fighter 4, the distance it travels depends on the strength of the button that you used. Capcom has already confirmed that all versions of Burn Kick are safe on block in Street Fighter 6. So you better start practicing those reaction drive impacts and those perfect parries, man, because they're all safe on block. And similarly to Tracer Combination with Thunder Knuckle, Burn Kick also has a couple of follow-ups in Knuckled Pursuit, which adds a big punch that spikes the opponent into the ground, and Double Burn, which is a flaming drop kick that is plus on block. Both Knuckled Pursuit and Double Burn also use 1 bar of drive gauge each. Burn Kick can also be used in the air, and if you use the light version, you can bait out anti-air attempts because it basically drops cviper straight down from where she's at, and it cuts her jump trajectory. As for the medium and heavy versions, they maintain the jump momentum, so cviper can use them for cross-up mix-ups and combos and things like that. So yes, we're going to still be seeing the cross-up Burn Kick mix-ups, and they're probably going to be pretty scary in this game. And of course, Burn Kick can still bait throws, so it's probably going to be a pretty good option on your opponent's wake-up if you think they're going to attempt the throw. Seismic Hammer, or Seismo as we call it, is back, and it basically works exactly how you remember it. cviper does a ground pound, and the strength of the button used determines where on screen the shockwave will come out. Just like in Street Fighter 4, Seismo can still be feint cancelled as well, and it can also be super jump cancelled, which leads to better combos, crazier mix-ups, and all that type of stuff. cviper can also use Seismo in neutral as a fireball counter, and in the trailer we see her use it against Guile's Sonic Boom. She uses a regular Seismo against the Sonic Boom, it hits Guile clean, and she's able to super jump cancel out of it and hit a Burn Kick for a quick combo and corner carry. Seems great. And because Viper can super jump cancel out of her Seismo, she can actually recreate some of those scenarios that we saw in Street Fighter 4, where Viper players would basically do a Seismo and then cancel that into another Seismo, and lock the opponent down while they're blocking. But if you're doing that here in Street Fighter 6, you'll need to be careful because super jump cancels actually take 1 bar of drive gauge as well. cviper has a new special move called Focus Force, and Capcom has come right out and said that it was directly inspired by Street Fighter 4's Focus Attack. Focus Force sees Viper put out a protective barrier in front of her, which gives her armor against oncoming attacks. She can hold the buttons down and charge the attack, and during that charge she can actually forward dash cancel out of it. The regular version of Focus Force hits the opponent and sends them flying back for a knockdown, and the OD version actually causes a crumple when it hits the opponent, but it's a quick crumple that leaves the opponent in an airborne state, so the follow-up combo that you get is going to be a juggle combo and not a grounded combo. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because Viper can still hit some pretty big combos after that OD Focus Force and tack on some pretty big damage. However, I haven't seen how a charged version of Focus Force interacts with block yet, so I'm not sure if it breaks guard like it does in Street Fighter 4. I mean, I doubt that it does, because if it did, I think Capcom would have mentioned that outright. But it's something to potentially test when we do finally get our hands on her. But Capcom did confirm that Focus Force can beat Drive Impact. So if you time it just right, you could potentially blow through that Drive Impact and crack the opponent back and get yourself a nice punish combo instead. What's interesting though is that in the trailer and in some of the TGS footage, we do see Viper end some combos with Focus Force. I'm not quite sure what the benefits of that are yet. From the looks of it, maybe it's better Oki and maybe better positioning, something like that, but we'll have to test that when we get in the lab. Alright, let's get into the big kahuna, the cornerstone of cviper's gameplay, Super Jump. As you already know, cviper can super jump in Street Fighter 6, and you do it by pressing down and then quickly pressing up right after, exactly the way that you did it back in Street Fighter 4. For those unfamiliar, Super Jump is essentially the heart of cviper's gameplay. It is her most important movement option, not only for traversing the screen or creating mix-ups, but it's also used in combos and grounded offensive pressure too. You cannot play this character effectively without it. Super Jump can be done raw in Street Fighter 6, can be cancelled into from all normals except for sweep, and can be done after Seismo as well. But here's the kicker. Now every single Super Jump costs 1 bar of drive gauge. Whether done raw or as a cancel out of something, you are spending bar to get that Super Jump. This is a huge change and a huge cost considering how important drive gauge is in this game. The implication here is that Viper can and will be burning through a ton of drive gauge very quickly with certain combo routes and setups. So this is going to add another layer of depth and complexity to an already clearly technical character, potentially Street Fighter 6's most technical character to date. To put this into perspective, let's take a closer look at an example combo with some theory fighting. If cviper hit Drive Impact as a punish counter, then hit Crouching Heavy Punch into OD Seismo, Super Jump canceled that into Burn Kick, and then ended with Heavy Thunder Knuckle into Tracer combination, by the end of that simple combo, Viper would have already spent 5 of her 6 drive gauge bars. On the plus side, some match footage from TGS shows how quickly she can get that meter back during combos. When Burn Kick actually lands, it seems to give her a little under half a drive gauge bar back, which will definitely be helpful when players craft the best routes to regain bar during bread and butter combos. But to this point, the match footage from TGS shows us both sides of the coin. In one instance, we see how quickly she can burn her bar with just one quick maneuver using a Super Jump cancel and an OD Burn Kick. And we also see a round that's a great example of how Viper players will be able to choose their attacks and routes very wisely to not cook all of her drive gauge all at once. Meter management is extremely important in Street Fighter 6, and it is one of the most crucial aspects of playing and surviving in this game. So not only will Viper players need top-notch execution to pull off all of the crazy Super Jump cancels and combos she has, but they'll also have to have intimate knowledge and awareness of their drive gauge at all times, more so than any other character in Street Fighter 6. If I'm being real with you guys, I think Capcom actually realized how quickly Viper will be cooking drive gauge because they added a 1-2 punch to the whole thing. Her level 1 super is a quick upkick attack, but it also doubles as an install super. When she hits level 1, she enters into a powered up state where any super jumps or follow-ups that use her drive gauge no longer take from her actual drive meter. Instead, her super meter becomes a timer, a bar that depletes over time, and she can use these meter-demanding maneuvers as much as she wants until the timer runs out without cooking drive gauge. The install activates when she hits the super and if the super is blocked. I have not seen the super whiff yet though, so I'm not sure if she still gets the power up in that case too. cviper fans are pretty damn pleased with Capcom right now because, for what might be the first time I can think of, they released a legacy DLC character who very closely retains everything they had in previous iterations of the game. Viper has every tool you remember her having, even what is basically a focus attack, which was a universal mechanic back in Street Fighter 4, and she also comes with a handful of new tricks to learn and master. There was a very large concern about how she might be designed for Street Fighter 6 due to the trend of fighting game developers simplifying things in their games to make them more accessible to newcomers. That design methodology doesn't really mesh well when you're trying to bring back one of the most high-level and technical characters in all of fighting game history. However, it seems that Capcom really did an excellent job of keeping Viper's identity intact while also bringing her into the present Street Fighter 6 fold. Some things work a little differently now, and her feints have received a quality of life change to only require a kick button instead of 2 punches, relieving some of the high execution requirements. But from everything we're seeing, it appears cviper is back in full effect. Even with her new meter cost for all super jumps, all of the tools this character has make her look really strong already. I haven't gotten the chance to play her yet, so it's far too early to say where she'll end up on the tier list. But based on what I've seen so far, this character looks like she's going to be an absolute menace once top players start really locking down her various techniques. She's kinda giving me Rashid on steroids vibes, in the sense that Rashid initially looked like a character that would eventually become strong once players figured him out, and I would not be surprised in the slightest if cviper ends up being top tier as well. What do you think of cviper's gameplay in Street Fighter 6? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.